catastrophic and just utterly devastating. A terrible day that I pray that no other person ever has to go through.
I think pain everywhere. Everybody knows somebody that was somehow involved.
Organized chaos or shell shock, maybe.
Tragedy, just waiting, not knowing, but it's going to be bad no matter what it is.
It's a quaint little town, and yet it has all these crosses and all these memorabilia items from the kids and everything. The downtown area, they have big murals of the children painted on some of the walls in the buildings. It's just a constant reminder of that tragic day.
It's very individual. Individual nurses, individual staff, housekeeping, lab got affected differently. The effect on each person is very individual. Some people can cope and be back to work the next day and like nothing happened. But at the same time, I kind of keep an eye on them as well, because sometimes they bottle it in. And other people are more extrovert and coming out and telling exactly how they're feeling about things.
I think in the ER, we all went through something very similar. Even though we weren't here with them on that day, we kind of all understand each other. We've shared our stories separate. Like if one person's struggling, it seems that we'll kind of separate and they're able to offload, but you know that you have that as well whenever you need the moment. You can kind of pick up on if somebody's having a little bit harder time that day. So as a team, I think the others just kind of fill in. So if I would say somebody's having like a struggle and they got a full load of patients, all of a sudden all their stuff's taken care of. Somebody steps in and does it all. I think within the ER, they're a really amazing family to have.
I'm so grateful I had Delanda in that room that day. I love each of my coworkers dearly, and we are an amazing team, but I can't imagine being in that room with anybody else that day. We were close before, but we're even closer now. I'm really grateful she was there with me that day.
When you go through something with people, you almost don't even have to go out of your way to do something different. You can read the vibe, you can read them. Even if they're not like saying that they're having a hard time, you can tell, right? And especially when you go through something traumatic with people, it doesn't have to be spoken that it's something. Everyone here just does such a good job of being there for each other and reading the room and being able to say like, hey, something's not right with Courtney today or whatever, and checking in. And it's a huge blessing to be surrounded by so many people that do like truly like love each other and care about each other's well-being. It's a really small community, like a very tight fit group. And so, like I said, you don't even almost have to like go out of your way to make sure they're doing okay. Just like, with your spouse or your kids, like you can just tell if they're like having a bad day.
Well, I'm gonna tell a secret. Big tough guys talk to other big tough guys about things. But it's true. We don't talk about anything enough. But realizing that you have to. There's no way around it. And there are other big tough guys that are like-minded and are stubborn and are just going through what you're going through. So it's nice to have each other. I've had many talks with big strong men like myself, but we're what get each other through the day, sometimes, not just that day, but every day.
At that time, I wasn't a mom yet. I think that looking back on the situation now, man, it's just so heartbreaking. I can't imagine what some of those family members went through. I just think God puts you in certain places at different points in life or whatever, different people specifically to be able to like do the job that needs to be done. Because looking back now, I don't know that I could have done mass gas triage that day, like being a mom. Some of my coworkers had children at the school that day, and they still came in to help. And I have so much respect for that.
There's going to be so many nurses that go through this, and so I think it's just really important to know, like, you're not the only one that's struggling.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the only one that's struggling, and there is still another day.
There's not a doubt in my mind that if I was having a rough day, that there's not one person in this hospital or in the ER specifically that was there that I couldn't just like talk to and say like, hey, like I'm struggling today. I think that we all feel that we can approach each other and just know that what we all went through was very real and a very hard situation, that it affects everybody differently.
Do what you need to do for yourself. Seek help if you need help. Your friends are your friends, and use them and be each other's light.
I have a hard time dealing with similar traumas that I experienced that day, similar wounds on people. I will almost immediately get a little bit emotional with some of them. And I myself am going to therapy to try and heal and make myself better. But I think I've actually become a more empathetic nurse since that day. I had an ER nurse educator at a previous job. She had a spiel that she liked to give how ER nurses are like turtles. We have this very hard shell on the outside, but on the inside we're very soft and squishy. And when our shell cracks and we get into that little soft squishy space, it's really, really hard for us to get that fixed. So we need to learn how to be resilient and take care of ourselves. So whether it be an MCI or just a bad day at work, whatever that is, you need to find ways for yourself to be resilient and to take care of yourself, and to also keep an eye out on your coworkers, because you never know what's going on at home. But in our job, we're smart. We know how to look out for the signs in our patients, so we need to look out for each other too.
There's just no reason not to get help if you need it. Your mental health is worth a lot, so take care of it.